Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial on writing an intro. And we have a handout that I'm going to be sending you on Google Classroom and on D2L to kind of get you guys going through how to structure an introduction and how to get this done in time for next week. So first things first, you have your step one, which was the most important step. We've worked on this last week, and this is your hook. So just to go over things, remember that your hook is what sets you up for success. And we've had the different types of hooks and some strategies that you could use for creating hooks. And don't forget, right, the handout that I gave you, which has this amazing bookmark right there. And this bookmark has pretty much a cheat sheet to those excellent essay hooks. And please follow that, have that with you, because it's going to save you guys going forward in your academic careers and get you a little bit more comfortable with starting to write your papers. There is really the biggest problem, even for Mr. G when he's writing his papers, is that blank piece of paper right in front of you where you have so many ideas in your mind, but you just don't know how to start them. Please have this with you, okay? Because this could get you started. This could kind of give you that idea to, hey, write something down. And as soon as something appears on your page, you will be surprised how quickly the rest will follow. So again, have that with you. So we're done this part. And now we have to say, well, what comes next? So when we have our hook, we want to follow it up with some context. So the word of the day here, contextualize, it simply means to provide a context, to provide it some background. So you could use things like historical, geographical, or social context, and I can give you guys an example in a minute of what I mean here. Definitions. So if, for example, you've used the definition for your hook, you may want to expand on that definition. If you provided some kind of anecdote or some kind of metaphor or simile, you may want to expand on that, right? So using that definition. You could also say, hey, based on some of the research I have done, here are some things that my research was talking about, right? Some theories or some research. Grade nines, if you're writing an expository essay, this is an opportunity for you to include separate points of view. So if somebody's arguing that LeBron James is the greatest offensive player of all time, and you're using TSN and Sportsnet statistics, you could say TSN emphasizes this point, whereas Sportsnet emphasizes that point. You can use that in your basic introduction, okay? But keep it general. You do not have to make any more statements in your introductions. You simply start with a very, very, very broad sentence, which is your hook, and you're channeling it down to your thesis. So if you can imagine a pyramid, but a pyramid that's not upright, it's reversed, you are pretty much trying to bring the reader down into your main point. All right. And make sure that when you get to step number 3, that step is your thesis. We've done that already, which is once you reach that very bottom, that narrow focus, you let the reader know, hey, this is what I'm arguing. This is what you're going to get from me. All right. In case that sounded a little bit too confusing, don't worry. I have an example already written for you here. So what I'm going to do is, to make it a little bit easier, I'm just going to turn the drawing off here, and let's increase the text. So here's my example. And if you guys recall my own topic, and let's do, and notice how I'm doing the paragraphs double spaced. Okay. Whenever you're writing an essay, it's always good to have things double spaced. It makes things a little bit clearer on the page. So here we go. Remember that part 1 where we started with a hook. So here is my hook right here. And I'm going to use different color highlights for this. Let's use this awesome pink color for our hook. So our hook is that first part of the sentence. Okay. And there is my hook. So let the sun shine in. I started off with a quotation, and I say maybe a perfect way to start any day when opening those window shades to the brightness of the rising sun. Then what are the blinders for in the vehicles we drive? Okay, so again, I combined a quote with a question, and I added a little bit of poetic justice here with the brightness of the rising sun. Anyways, the hook, guys, it's all up to you. The sentence in your hook does not have to be, at overly poetic or creative, but it just has to get the reader interested in reading the rest. So there's my hook. And remember that last component was our thesis. And there's the thesis right here at the very bottom. It says this study will show that driving on a bright day leads to an increased risk of traffic accident due to effects of UV rays on the eyes, immediate visual impairment due to glare, and the impact that heat has on our body. Boom, done. So notice how nicely this is sandwiched. And in between is where we have context, okay? So the context immediately expands on your hook. So let's look at the second sentence after my hook. The sun has always been the center of our lives. It lets us know when the day starts and ends. It provides warmth and helps things grow and develop. So what I did here, if you look back to the suggestions, is I used a social and historical context to expand on what I said in the previous sentence. Okay? And then yet, for something as essential, there are situations where this life-giving object should be avoided at all costs. So right away, I went from giving you a little bit of a historical background to then throwing a fork in the middle. Okay? So I threw a fork in it saying, yes, we've always liked the sun, but there are these situations that unfortunately make this amazing thing that we look forward to every single day not good. All right? And I follow that up with why. So the effects of the sun on the human body are far more detrimental to our health than originally thought. Skin cancer, sunburn, blindness are but a few side effects of enjoying the sun for just a bit too long. Okay, so notice how I started here by being a little bit historical, giving you a little bit of a social context, and then immediately throwing a fork into it, almost like shocking you and saying, hey, wait, it's good, but here's a situation where it couldn't be. And then I expand on that situation by telling you, hey, there's some things that could be bad for you. What are they? Here's a little bit of a list, okay? And then staying home or in the shade would be the easiest solution, but there are some tasks in our day-to-day lives that make our contact with a sunny, bright day unavoidable. So I follow this up with kind of anticipating somebody telling me, well, yeah, Mr. G, if you don't want to stay in the sun, then just go in the shade or stay at home. So I'm kind of anticipating that in my introduction, and I'm saying, yes, you're right, but there are some things where the sun can't be avoided. And I follow it up with what they are, and that is driving, okay? One such task is driving, hence the need for blinders. Driving on a sunny day has an immediate impact on our ability to properly operate our vehicle. Okay, so right here is where I'm channeling the argument down to my thesis. And I follow it up with, the study will show that driving on a bright day leads to an increased risk of traffic accident due to effects of UV rays on the eyes, immediate visual impairment due to glare, and the impact that heat has on our body. All right, so let's just revise this one last time here to show you how this works. So what I decided to do in my follow-up sentence is use historical ideas. So here I went a little bit historical for you. And notice that I'm being very general. Okay, I'm not giving you any proof like, yeah, in 10,000 BC or 9,000 BC, this happened. Okay, it's pretty much being very general and expecting you guys to recognize, yeah, that's right. We've always considered the sun to be an awesome thing. I mean, that's just common sense, right? And then once you get the reader comfortable with that information, the strategy could be, hey, I'm going to throw something at this, right? And I'm throwing a fork by saying, yet, for something as essential, there are situations where that's not happening. So I'm going to use a very dark blue here to show you. This is where my fork is. This is where I change the tone of my essay. And I got you from this happy, warm feeling over here down to, whoops, nope, all right? So once you make a statement like this, follow it up with examples. And this is where my examples are, okay? The effects of the human include skin cancer, sunburn, blindness, are all of those things. And I'm anticipating you telling me, yeah, well, stay home, Mr. G. And I'm saying staying home, but telling you that there are some things that you can't avoid, and that's driving. And once soon as I mention driving, that focuses and narrows my argument down to my thesis. To give you another example of this, again, going back to the LeBron James example, okay? When I'm saying you could use a historical background here. So saying something like LeBron James is the greatest uh, offensive player of all time, you could say, offense has become the most important position, or an offensive position is the most important position in basketball, or has always been an important position in basketball because of A, B, or C. All right. And then you could say, for many, many decades, Michael Jordan has been the player most touted to be the greatest offensive player, and then throw your fork in the middle. But recently, LeBron James has broken all records. There's my fork. And then provide an example. Well, what kind of records did he break? Okay. Why is he considered an offensive player? And channel that argument down to your thesis. So it's always good while you're writing your introduction and you're writing that step number 2, the context of your body paragraph in the introduction, is to keep in mind your thesis. How are you channeling down into it? Don't reveal your information right away. Don't reveal your thesis right away. As you've noticed in the example I've used, I started with my hook and started channeling slowly, slowly down into driving. Notice that I don't mention driving here until I get to almost the end of my introduction. Okay? I kind of start talking about other things, trying to tell you, hey, that's right, the sun is nice. And then once I start throwing my forks in it, I get you ready and anticipating, uh-oh, he is going to tell me something where the sun is not good. That's what I want you as a reader to think. So while you're strategizing and thinking about how to write an introduction, good idea is to maybe go back here into this handout and say, well, what do I want to use? Do I want to use a historical, geographical, or social context? Do I want to expand or talk about something from the past? Maybe I want to talk about something that's happening today. How does society see my problem? How does society see my issue? You could also look at, well, do I have a statement in my hook that is unclear? Expand on it. So try to define it. Don't use a dictionary definition, though. Don't go into an Oxford dictionary. Try to define it on your own. And you'll notice that when you're defining it and explaining it on your own, you're expanding on it. You are putting that into your body paragraph, which is what you want to do in your introduction. And last but not least, if you've done a lot of research and you think you have some points of view that you want to share that you've looked at that you found interesting, then use that. Use the scholarly debates or use the research that you've done. Don't copy and paste it. Just say, in the research, the main focus on this point is that or this. Don't copy and paste and use quotations just yet. So I hope that you will use this example here, and I'm going to leave it for you, and I will attach it to our Google Classroom assignment so that you could refer to it on a regular basis and just go into it and see if you could repeat the process or if you could be creative and come up with your own. The main thing to remember is the hook is on the top of your introduction, the thesis is on the bottom of your introduction, and what happens in the middle gives context to what you will be arguing. Again, guys, I'm here to help. So if this is still very difficult to understand, please email me. If enough people email and you're still having difficulty, I'm going to set up a Google Hangout for all of us in LA, and we will set up a time on Monday to kind of go over it, and I can go over these examples on the board with you if you'd like. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Good luck, guys. Hope you're gonna have some fun with this. I've read your thesis so far. I've read your hooks. I am absolutely blown away by some of your ideas, and I can't wait to read them for our essay. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and hopefully We'll see you guys on Monday. Bye.